Water is called elixir of life, as all the living organisms that depend on it for their survival. Let's insight into the types of chemical bonds that are present into this water molecule and what all the chemical bond that can be formed when this water molecule is combined with the other atoms. We know that oxygen has 6 valence electrons. So in order to attain the octet configuration, it shares the 2 electrons with 2 respective hydrogen atoms. Thereby you notice that as the oxygen and hydrogen atoms, they share the electrons among themselves, that leads to the formation of a covalent bond between the combining atoms. And these electrons that are being shared, they are called your shared pair or the bonding electrons. Whereas the electrons that you observe here, they are not being shared with any other atoms or not being combined. They are called your lone pair of electrons. And when this lone pair of electrons are combining with any other atom or ion, that leads to the formation of a coordinate bond, which can be defined as the bond that is formed between any 2 atoms by sharing a pair of electrons, provided that entirely by one of the combining atoms, but shared by both. That is called your coordinate bond or the dative bond, and that is represented by an arrow. You notice your water molecule, it has 2 lone pair of electrons. So whenever a proton that is deficient of electrons, it combines with the water molecule, it gets attracted to this lone pair of electron. Thereby what happens, this oxygen atom shares its lone pair of electron with this hydrogen ion. And you can notice here one thing, that the electron, the lone pair of electron is being shared by oxygen as well by hydrogen ion. But the electrons are entirely shared by the oxygen atom only. The hydrogen ion is not at all providing any electrons to this oxygen atom or the sharing bond. Whatever this bond that is formed by the sharing of electrons between this oxygen and hydrogen, that electron is provided entirely by this oxygen atom. And that is why the bond is called your coordinate bond. And ultimately after this bond, this becomes a new different compound, that is your hydronium ion. We can represent this in the form of equation. That is, whenever a water molecule comes in the combination of a H plus ion, it forms your hydronium ion. But you will be wondering where this proton came from and how it combines with your water. Well, the answer is, we know that whenever an acid dissolves in the water, it releases your H plus ions. Similarly, when this hydrochloric acid it dissolves in the water, it dissociates into your H plus ions and Cl minus ions. And these H plus ions, they immediately come and combine with the water molecules that are present in the solution. And that leads to the formation of this hydronium ion. And hence we can define this coordinate bond as the bond that is formed between any 2 atoms by sharing a pair of electrons, provided that the shared pair of electrons is entirely by one of the combining atoms only, but it is shared by both the atoms. That is what we call it as a coordinate bond or a dative bond. So we understood that this hydronium ion has now 1 lone pair of electron, 2 covalent bonds and 1 coordinate bond. As you can notice here that the lone pair of electrons that is being shared by this oxygen atom as well with this hydrogen ion is provided entirely by this oxygen atom. So this oxygen atom is called the donor, whereas this hydrogen ion, it just shares the electrons with this oxygen. Hence, it is called as the acceptor. So, these are the conditions that are mandatory for the formation of a coordinate bond. That is, one of the two atoms must have one lone pair of electrons, whereas another atom should be sort of at least a lone pair of electrons. Then only it can lead to the formation of a coordinate bond between the combining atoms. Look at this ammonia molecule now. You know, this nitrogen has 5 valence electrons. So, in order to attain the stability, it combined with 3 different hydrogen atoms, thereby forming this ammonia molecule. But after this mutual sharing of electrons with these hydrogen atoms, a lone pair of electron has remained. That is, when a H+ ion comes in contact with this ammonia, it leads to the formation of an ammonium ion by this nitrogen atom. You can see here, it shares its lone pair of electron with this hydrogen ion. And as this electron pair is provided entirely by this nitrogen atom for sharing between this nitrogen and hydrogen ion, so you can see this leads to the formation of a coordinate bond. And hence, in total, this ammonia molecule has converted into your ammonium ion when a hydrogen ion is being added to this ammonia molecule. And now you can observe here, it has 3 covalent bonds and 1 coordinate bond. So, which is the donor atom and acceptor atom in this hydronium ion? As we learned that in hydronium ion, oxygen is providing entirely the lone pair of electrons for the sharing between the oxygen and hydrogen. So, oxygen here becomes the donor atom and hydrogen becomes your acceptor. So, the answer is the donor atom is your oxygen atom, whereas the acceptor one is your H+ ion or the hydrogen ion.